A mysterious gift box. I was 17, and it was Christmas Eve. The snow was falling heavily outside. My family was gathered in the living room, the warmth of the fireplace enveloping us as we were sharing the Christmas gifts and enjoyed hot chocolate with marshmallows. As the clock struck midnight, we heard the faint sound of bells jingling outside. My younger sister jumped up, racing to the window. "Look, Santa's sleigh!" she exclaimed, pointing to the snowy yard. I rolled my eyes, but as I turned to follow her gaze, I noticed a shadowy figure standing near the edge of the woods. Curiosity piqued, I decided to check it out. I slipped on my coat and boots, grabbing a flashlight from the kitchen. My family was too engrossed in their festivities to notice. I stepped outside into the cold night, the crunch of snow beneath my feet echoing in the quiet. As I approached the figure, I felt an eerie chill in the air, the jingle of bells growing louder. The silhouette was obscured by the trees, but I could see it was dressed in a tattered red coat, much like Santa's. My heart raced with both excitement and fear as I called out, "Hello? Is someone there?" Suddenly, the figure turned, and I was met with a sight that froze me in my tracks. The face of the man was gaunt and pale, eyes sunken deep into his skull, a twisted smile spreading across his lips. "Merry Christmas," he rasped, his voice chilling. He outstretched a hand, revealing a sack bulging with what looked like bones. Panic surged through me, and I ran back toward the house, shouting that the man was not Santa Claus. But no one took it serious. They thought I was making jokes. I felt much better to sit with my family and feel warmth and grounded again. I thought it may someone's mischief, or maybe just all my illusions. That night, I unwrapped my presents, each one filled with joy that momentarily distracted me from the chilling encounter. My parents had given me a model I had always wanted, and my sister Lily handmade a card for me. I liked my gifts. They were a comforting reminder of the warmth of family, underscoring that for everyone else, the night was as joyful as ever. Yet when I woke up the next morning, something caught my eye by my bedside. There was an unopened gift box sitting next to my cupboard, wrapped in festive paper that I didn't remember seeing before. Did my parents leave it for me while I was asleep? But I quickly dismissed the idea. Aren't they already give me the present last night? I carefully approached the box. When I opened it, I discovered small bones that might have come from animals. A shiver ran down my spine as I stared at the contents, dread creeping in. Who had left the box there? The most unsettling part was the thought of someone being in my room without my knowledge. Did they come in through the window? The mystery hung in the air, thick and suffocating, as the cheerful sounds of Christmas faded into an eerie silence. Don't respond. On cold Christmas Eve, Emily decided to visit her aunt, who lived in an old farmhouse on the outskirts of town. The farmhouse was adorned with festive decorations, and colorful Christmas stickers adorned the windows, creating a warm and inviting atmosphere that contrasted sharply with the biting cold outside. After enjoying a delicious Christmas dinner together, her aunt suggested they tell stories to ward off the chill. As Emily listened to her aunt share tales of family traditions and ghostly encounters, she began to feel more at ease. However, as the hour grew late and the wind outside howled fiercely, her aunt's expression grew increasingly serious. "There's an old legend about this town," her aunt said quietly. "Every Christmas Eve, the spirit of a missing girl returns to the place she once lived, searching for what she never got to finish. Her soul is trapped in this cold world, only able to appear on this night." Emily initially brushed it off, as just a spooky story, but as the snow began to fall harder outside, an unsettling feeling crept over her. As the story continued, the lights in the farmhouse flickered, and Emily caught sight of a shadowy figure moving outside in the snow. "Do you see that?" Emily asked, her voice trembling. "Just ignore it and close the curtains," her aunt replied, her voice strained with anxiety. Despite her aunt's warning, curiosity overwhelmed Emily, and she pulled back the curtains for a better look. To her horror, the figure disappeared just as quickly as she had seen it. A chill swept through the room, and the wind howled through the cracks in the window, amplifying the tension in the air. "Let's head upstairs. It might be safer up there," her aunt suggested, though her voice quivered. As they made their way to the upstairs bedroom, the fireplace mysteriously ignited with an eerie blue flame, signaling a drop in temperature that left them shivering. Soon, Emily found herself hearing a soft whispering sound, almost as if a girl was calling her name from the shadows. "Did you hear that?" she asked, her heart racing. "Just ignore it. It's probably the wind," her aunt began, but the whispers intensified, filling the room with an unsettling presence. The shadow from earlier slowly emerged, revealing the girl Emily had seen outside, her innocent smile contrasting with the dark intensity in her eyes. "I need your help," the girl called out, her voice echoing eerily in the room. Emily felt a wave of terror wash over her, instinctively stepping back. Her aunt reached out to grab her hand, but an invisible force pushed her away. The lights flickered violently, and the girl's presence loomed closer. "Take me home." The girl's voice turned icy, sending shivers down Emily's spine, and soon, her surroundings began to blur. As darkness enveloped the room, a stillness fell over everything. When the lights returned, Emily and her aunt had vanished, leaving the farmhouse empty aside from the gently falling snow outside, which seemed to whisper the girl's unfulfilled wishes. From that night on, the old farmhouse stood silent amidst the winter chill, and each Christmas Eve, as the wind howled, the echoes of ghostly whispers still lingered, waiting for the next soul willing to listen. "Who's there?" Last Christmas, I decided to stay home and enjoy a quiet holiday. The temperature had dropped below freezing, and snowflakes danced in the night sky, blanketing the world in white overnight. I decorated my house cheerfully and lit the fireplace, creating a cozy atmosphere. As night fell, I turned on the television and settled in to watch classic Christmas movies. The warm glow of the lights helped me embrace the tranquility, but a subtle unease lingered beneath the surface. This was my first Christmas in this small town, and the silence felt almost suffocating. Around 10 o'clock, I heard a faint tapping sound coming from outside, like someone tapping lightly on the window. My heart skipped a beat, and I got up to check. Pulling back the curtains, I peered into the darkness, where only falling snow could be seen. I convinced myself it was just snow sliding off the branches, though a feeling of discomfort remained. I returned to the couch, but that strange sensation persisted, making me uneasy. A little while later, the tapping came again, and I decided to take another look. This time, I saw a girl standing at the door, dressed in a white dress, her face expressionless and eerily pale. Her long black hair flowed around her, blending with the shadows of the night. My heart dropped. Her appearance felt unnatural. How could she be out here in such cold weather, dressed so lightly? After a moment of hesitation, I decided to open the door. "Are you okay?" I asked softly. She said nothing, just stood there, her vacant eyes seemingly gazing into the distance. A rush of dread washed over me, and as I went to shut the door, she suddenly looked up and said in a soft voice, "Please let me in. I'm so cold." Her words filled me with fear. I knew I should help her, but I couldn't shake off the dread that gripped me. Just as I hesitated, her expression darkened and her lips curled into a sinister smile. Panicking, I slammed the door shut and my heart raced with anxiety. I tried to calm myself, but before I could breathe a sigh of relief, the door started shaking violently, accompanied by loud thuds as if some giant was trying to break in. With each impact, I felt the door might give way to her relentless force. "Don't you want me to come in?" she called through the door with a chilling laugh. I felt a cold shiver run down my spine and desperately stuffed a table against the door for extra barricade. As I clung to my last shred of composure, I called the police, my voice shaky and weak. After hanging up, the pounding suddenly ceased. I held my breath, straining to listen, but then the knocking resumed with even greater intensity. I felt myself nearing a breaking point and began to scream in sheer panic. Just then, I heard someone outside say, "Sir, did you call the police?" Relief flooded through me as I realized the officers had arrived. I flung the door open, but there was no one outside, no trace of the girl, not even a footprint in the freshly fallen snow. The police entered and asked what had happened, but I struggled to articulate the events. My thoughts jumbled. They searched the house and found nothing unusual. Now, as winter returns and the cold wind mingles with the flurrying snow, I still feel the lingering shadow of that night. It echoes in my mind, a haunting reminder that on that wintry evening, the call of solitude never truly fades away.